a three-dimensional beach wave scene. So I have this plank of wood. I'm going to sand the back because I've got some resin on it. What I did was, because it still has the bark on it, I just put clear resin over the bark because I didn't want any to fall off. I'm going to do a background painting very quickly because when I apply my tinted resin, that will give me a really good guideline to see where I want my deep waters, my shallow waters, and then at the bottom here I'm going to put some sand mixed with glue. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint that deep water, and I'm just going to use the same brush. When I come to resin this, I'm going to mask off the bark because I think that looks kind of cool. I think I might need some water. Put a little bit of water just to wet my brush a little bit because that'll help with the blending. So just going up to the bark. Anyway, I'll go and fast forward this, do some time lapse while I paint this bit, and then I will be back to you.
You and me, we made a vow, for better or for worse. I can't believe you let me down, but the bruise in the way it hurts. For months on end, I've had my doubts, denying every tear.
Okay, so my background is painted. I'm now going to mix up some sand, and what I do with the sand, I have, excuse me, 3 different grains of sand. I have fine, medium, and coarse. And for this one, I'm going to use a very fine sand because the dimensions of this are not very big. It is like 6 inches by like 11 inches. Anyway, so get your sand, and probably won't need that much, that'll probably be plenty. And then take Elmer's glue all. I'm hoping this is in the frame. I will pour it in front of you. That's probably good. And then mix the sand and the glue together. And if it's too runny, just add more sand, because I think this might be a bit too runny. I want to keep the bark from being covered, so I'm actually going to washi tape the bark off so the sand won't cover it. Let's go. The resin's kind of still sticky, but that's all right. So just got some washi tape. To protect the sides. And then put your sand mixture on and spread it out, and the glue will dry clear, and you'll be left with sand that's not going to go anywhere. And I want this painting to go over the edges. So I'm just going to put the sand up to the edge. Not too worried at this point about where the water is going to go, because what I'm going to show you how to do is how to create like a three-dimensional effect. So the waves are going to be crashing over this sand anyway. Ooh, a bit of shell or something in there. Ooh, that's the other thing. So I think it might be kind of cute to have some shells on this. Cover the side. This is going to carry on dripping for a while. But the best time to put the shells and details on, there it is, there's a bit of coral, is when the sand and the glue are still wet, because then they really will stick. All right, so that's my sand down. Now I'm going to I've got these little tiny starfish. I'm going to put a starfish down, and then these are tiny shells, a couple of shells. Yeah, I think that'll do. I don't want to overkill. All right, so I'm going to wait for the background to dry and for the sand to dry, and then we'll come and do the first layer of resin. So the sand has dried. I have masked the back with some electrical tape, and I've masked the top with some electrical tape so that I can protect the bark, because I think that adds character. I'm quickly going to run through my tints. I've got them ready to, I've mixed the resin and letting the bubbles come to the surface. So here I have Loft's Aqua Green. This one is Loft Light Blue. In the white is Stone Coat Countertops White Base Tint, and to the white I'm going to add some ResiBlast. And then I haven't used these for a while. These are Primary Elements. Primary Elements Azurite is the dark one, and Primary Elements Blue Bayou. And what you have to mix these with before you add resin is their Vivid Ultrametalics multi-surface acrylic paint, because if you don't, they're kind of like mica powders, but they'll stay kind of grainy and won't look nice at all. So those are my primary elements, and then one more is Luminere by Jacquard Halo Blue Gold, and it's a metallic acrylic paint, so I'm going to put that in. So I'm going to add all of these to the resin, and then we will do our first wave. Okay, I've mixed them all. I actually have another one prepared that's slightly bigger, that when I finish recording this for you, I'll put the first wave on. This one, just as easy to do two as it is one. So I'm going to pour this now. The other thing, one thing I'm going to do is right at the beach, the shoreline. I'm going to just put some clear resin down here. Okay, and some blue. A little bit of green in the darker area. I'm just going to blend all that together. For some reason that seems to be setting. So don't forget, this is just the first wave. And then I'm going to have my gorgeous turquoise. And then the light blue. And they will all blend together. And then the first wave. And this has ResiBlast in it. So before I blow it with my heat gun, I'm going to tip it back and then tip it forward. Okay, and I kind of want, I can blow it with the heat gun. This will also pop any bubbles. Sweet. Put it on low. And then here I kind of want to blow out that down the beach a little bit. All right. That is the first, that is the first wave. The heat gun makes the resin run a lot more, which is fine. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry and then we will come back and do the second wave. So, it's next morning. Good morning, everybody. And they are both dry. This is the first wave, and this one, the resin moved down, actually even covered part of the bark in places, but actually I don't mind that. The next wave will come about here, and then the third wave, and I might do a fourth wave, but anyway, so I'm thinking this wasn't straight. Maybe that could have been lifted a little that way. That's straight. That's straight. And that's pretty straight. So I'm not sure why the resin moved, but you know, resin, as I've said in the past, it's like trying to control the uncontrollable. This one, however, stayed where it was meant to be. And that clear resin that I put on before the wave really makes it look like water. It's fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand just the top of this, and I'm not going to use this multi-surface vivid Ultrametalics because for some reason that made my primary elements cure like way too fast. I mean, this is okay. If I was going to do a painting, I'd sand it down anyway, and I always do at least 2 coats. So I'm going to sand those and then come back and we'll do the second wave. And so all the little resin drips are off. I've sanded the back and it is just wonderful. And you know what? If you have tiny bits left, don't try to remove them. This is a piece of work done by an artist. It's not made in a factory. So I always think it's nice to have some kind of sign that the artist was there. So the back is sanded, The front I sanded up until here because this has to remain shiny. And I have my resin mixed, I've got my tints ready. Like I said, I'm not going to use that vivid ultra metallic painting medium because for some reason it made my resin set really quickly. So instead I'm mixing that primary element Azurite with some ultramarine blue from Liquitex Basics. So I'm going to go and remask these. There's my other one, beautifully at the back. I'm going to mask them again, and I advise you to do this at every stage because if you leave tape on and the resin gets really hard, it's a nightmare to get off. So I will be back in a sec. I've masked it off, I've taped the back, I've got my resin mixed, and on this one I'm going to go I'm only going to do 3 waves on this one. I'm going to go about here. I don't need to put clear resin down. I'm going to start with the dark blue at the top.
I wish this would be over now, but I know that I still need you here. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm not the only
And now it's time for the last wave. Once again, make sure everything is level by moving the spirit level around. This actually wasn't, so I put a popsicle stick underneath it. I have my resin mixed. I'm going to begin with
been so unavailable. Now sadly I know why. Your heart is unobtainable, even though Lord knows you kept mine. You say I'm crazy, 'cause you don't think I know what you've done. But when you call me baby, I know I'm
everybody. They're now finally finished. I'm so happy with it. I hope you can see the 3D effects of the 3 different waves, and this plank it's on is absolutely adorable. So that's that. Now this one had the alcohol sprayed into the white, and I got some great lacing effects here. However, the other one had ResiBlast in it, and you can see what the ResiBlast did to the resin. I think it's because maybe the layers are just too shallow, so I'm not going to show you in this video. I'm going to sand these 2 layers down and redo them, the 2 top waves, and finish that off at some point. But anyway, in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this adorable little beach scene, and I'll see you next time.